Hello guys, I'm Mariano, the Trading Parrot, and tonight I'm gonna give you an update on the price action. It seems still that we are having the bears in control, and in this video we are gonna look for clues that are starting to pop all over the place in my indicators, calling for a potential reversal. And I think the shorts are going too far on this one. We'll look into the past performance in 2020 for some additional clues. Very interesting data I have to show tonight. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the Coin Bureau Trading. I publish 3 videos per week on this channel, and if you are a hardcore Bitcoin crypto fan, I invite you to subscribe as well the Trading Parrot channel, where I publish up to 3 videos per day. In Coin Bureau Trading, you're also gonna get daily videos from Dan, Aaron, and myself covering all the altcoins, Bitcoin price action, and crypto education in general. As you can see this morning, I was calling out for a very little clue that we could be seeing some sort of reversal. I make sure that whenever I make these calls, I make it clear that this is not enough, this is not what I'm looking for, this is just an initial clue for a reversal. At that time, the price was roughly at 91k, and we have a pretty decent move to the upside of almost 3k. This ended right at the resistance that we put at 94.8k, which been using as support on Monday and as a resistance in the afternoon of Monday at least 3 times. So we just went back to the scene of the crime to test it once again and saw a massive rejection so far. And that's what I mean by these early calls. They can give just a small swing to the upside, but they don't give the full confidence that we get once we see a full breakout above the trend line that we are calling as the first line of defense of the shorts. We couldn't get to break or close above it. Therefore, for me, there is still not a long. But there was still a nice ride that if you had the time and the experience to trade it, you could have caught part of that almost 3k to the upside that we have today. For me, the most important part is that after we haven't broken down below this white trend line that was the support since early October, we have lost quite a lot of momentum, and I don't feel safe taking a swing long until we break above the red line in here, which is located today, if we were to make a move, somewhere between 46 and 47. So I'm gonna leave that as a line in the price in here. As you can see, today we saw a rejection against those levels, and I don't think there is any safety in taking a long unless we at least claim that line in a move like this and we hold it as support. Now the 94.8 is a resistance that we are also gonna keep track in the future, just because we have miserably lost it trying to get above it 4 times. So we won't forget about that line. And now in the rest of the video, we're gonna start looking for clues that make a big case for a reversal. Some of them are pretty interesting ones. The first one is the cross-fee ratio getting into the green in the 4-hour time frame. You can see, for example, in here, it starts calling as soon as it gets into the green that there might be a slowdown in the crash. Eventually, when it comes out of the green in here, we get additional confidence. I don't use these indicators by itself, that will be crazy, but you can see that we're getting also very close to enter into the green. So all that this is telling me is don't take too long to look for a long, or you might get to miss the train. And I think that is at least a fair assumption. And now if we look at the daily time frame, my analysis this morning include the volume profile. And I mentioned that I use the volume profile in all this range in here to trade it. And although I'm not blindly assuming that we are just gonna range in this area in here, that could be a possibility, in which case the point of control might have a lot to say where we are. I have set my volume profile to start from the beginning of this impulsive move right on the 4th of November, and it's highlighting this area where we are currently at 91.2 as the area most traded of the whole pump. And this has two big things to say. It attracts the price like a magnet, and it has done that already. We were talking about 91k in the daily time frame analysis from many days ago, since we were failing to break above 100k, and we call it as a potential outcome if that selling wall continue to do damage. The second reason we talk about 91k is because the hive had a couple of bearish divergences from different indicators to trigger and to target 90.2. That is very close to 91k and made the case stronger for a pullback to that area. The second outcome of the volume profile is if we bounce from here, that is extremely bullish. Being on the top end of this range defined by the volume profile is bullish. It's like looking at a super trend and being in the green, or on RSI being above 50. Now, if we were to come below this before we close tonight, and then before closing time we come back above the point of control, that is very bullish, and it might indicate to investors that they won't be able to get away with breaking below the most traded area. We're gonna look into how much the bid liquidity has increased as we get close to this level, confirming that this is still the area most traded, and it could be also the area where Bitcoin is passing from weak hands into stronger ones. That is just a potential outcome. Remember, we don't make decisions just based on a single thing. The final decision for me is to break above the red line. If we don't see that, none of these hypotheses are good by themselves. So it's not a matter of price can go high or can go low. We look at this, we identify this area as an area of interest. We put a magnifier glass in the 4 hour and we look for confirmation of a breakout after having gone below it potentially, and then seeing that the 4 hour breakout confirms within the day, all together with a closing price above 91. That is how it's described. A potential and not the only scenario that could confirm a reversal to the upside. So as you can see, I'm not only trying to make you watch this video to just tell you that the price can go up or down. That is just useless information. The information that you should focus on is on the keys I'm giving you to confirm strong hypotheses and distinguish them from the weakened ones or from the ones that are kind of losing steam and becoming invalid. On the contrarian, if we break below the point of control and we continue to see the 4 hour time frame just goofing around this area, really not doing much, that just means that the price continues to dump and there is no action for longs. And if you enter the degen short that I gave you here on Saturday, you should be extremely happy by now. And I've seen some comments on my previous videos appreciating that entry. That was pretty much the golden entry right here on Saturday around midday, because pretty much you are shorting from 100k and you are already 7.5k in profit, and that's just assuming you're only using 1x, which I believe most of you aren't. And so far the weekly candle still is not an engulfing candle. That is good, but very careful now with seeing a red engulfing candle in here, because that could make the speed of the sell out a lot faster and the target a lot further away. Something I also wanted to mention on the daily time frame is the current levels of support. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work in here, because literally this line that I was assuming this morning was going to be my support is not my support, because currently we are pointing down, but the candle is still live, so I don't know where to place this. So I'm gonna just leave it right there until we figure how low price could go, or if it's going to reverse before midnight. Then we need to accommodate once again tomorrow morning when I put out my video in the Trading Parrot, or if I inform you via my Telegram, Instagram or Twitter. As you can see, the RSI has done a magnificent move all the way to the bottom of the range. It's almost just 2 levels away from hitting 56 RSI on the daily. If you want to know where is that in the price, that currently is located at 89.5k. So if RSI wanted just to test this support that so far it has held 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and I'm not saying it has to hold it, but past performance says it does. And the previous time that we did this, which was also a channel from August into November, here it is the channel, August into November, we managed to hold that, and that particular point on 12th of October gave us an impulsive move in here from RSI 45 into 87, which by the way is the top number 2. We just did the top number 4. The caveat is that we have already moved to 86 in here, so we have already done this move in here to the top. So if we extend this line, you can see that the RSI daily is saying we might come and visit that support that currently is 56, and we might lose it, ending up using the median coming from the percentile nearest rank for another push up. And that is crazy. It could be the case that we repeat the same pattern of last year, just dubious speculation, like Ben is saying all the time. So assuming that the median moves like this, and that we lose that, maybe somewhere around the 50s, we find that reversal point. Again, all this speculation is valid to make it, is valid to put it on top of the table. You have all your tool set in front of you, all the possible things that can happen, and you don't decide just cherry picking one because you like it the most. You just wait for the RSI or the price to get close to the area of that hypothesis, in this case hitting the 56, and then you come back to the 4-hour time frame, you come back to the liquidity pools, to the fair value gaps, to make a much more complete plan for you. And then you go with your plan, you put your stop loss somewhere, and you accept the outcome. If you get good at that, you're gonna start increasing your ratios of win versus losses, and the rest is just history and practicing like a beast. Now, what is the worst case scenario? And I want to mention this worst case scenario because it's got a very interesting target, number one, not just because of price action, but also because there is big liquidity there. I believe we are not going for the worst case scenario. Let's clarify that. At this time in the cycle, we typically don't do those things. What can change that? The only thing that can change it is a black swan event. Clear? Let's go into that last line in the sand. If we were to lose this support at 56 and instead of just going slightly lower like we did past year end of November, and we carry on going lower, we could make a full trip to fully reset all the momentum that we have gained from August. And you get the point. I don't think we will do that thing, but if we did, most likely we will stop at 29. That is currently our support. We have tested 3 times, and somewhere in this vicinity could be the place where we stop. Now, that 29 is currently located roughly at 65K. What a number, right? 65K is pretty much like seeing the full run reversing just to come back for another retest of the stupid megaphone pattern that I've been so tempted to delete from my charts. But you can see that is still bringing a topic to chat about, right? At least the RSI says that is on the table for an extreme case. And the main reason that I make it valid is because if you look at the long-term liquidity that we currently see on trading different, if I zoom out, focus on the liquidity on the upside, sure, is the largest. Yes, that is very attractive. But if we start messing around with this and including lower liquidity, what is the first liquidity that stands out? And not just that, what is currently the largest one that we have in all this area, starting from 50K? The answer is from 61 to 65K. And I say it this morning and I call it, let's leave that for maybe March or maybe for the bear market. But looking at this RSI in here, if you saw the RSI moving from 60 to 30, would you say that's impossible? I mean, having been in here in March, we made it to 87 and then we ended up stopping at 25. In here, we made it to 85, stopping at 30 or at 29. Not impossible, absolutely not likely at this point in time in the market, but interesting at the very least. And the reason is because the interest on Bitcoin is attracting loads of new people. You can see that after peaking at 68, roughly mid-November, that has just reduced to 50. So no one has gone anywhere. Everybody's still here. And the proof is that my videos on the Trading Parrot just a couple of months ago were getting hundreds of views, 800 views, 1000 views some days. In the past week, some videos made it 15,000 views, and that is bullish. Yes, yesterday there were some outflows on the ETFs, but this is just too small to even bother looking. And now people are starting to appreciate my golden cell. Whenever I talk about the golden cell, or whenever I show this chart, which is the top bottom weekly, my infamous oscillator that has called not just for every top of the market, but every bottom. When I mentioned, guys, to you that we were very close to 0.41, and I repeated day after day that thing, and I got hundreds of thank yous for that, together with at least 20 people swearing at me. Are you mental? You're just wanting people to sell their Bitcoin for your own benefit. But look at this. We stopped at 0.38. We at some point made it to 0.39. That was the highest. And now we are retracing. And we have done that pretty much since 2011. So that's why I was calling for a local top right there, and you have seen how many liquidations we have had during the day thanks to my call of the W pattern and the move to almost 95k. Some shorts got liquidated, and I'm hoping that the people that saw my call, if you were experienced trader, you managed to take advantage of the almost 3k move to the upside in the middle of a big pullback or a decent pullback for Bitcoin. I think it's very, very high likely that tonight we confirm the MACD daily crossing here. The last one at these highs of levels of MACD happened in March in 2024. And if you look at November, in the past cycle, we had a very high MACD bearish crossing here. And we enter a period where the MACD histogram remained for 20 days quite bearish. When did we end that? Mid-December, okay? That's an important insight. This is just past performance, but as long as we don't get a black swan event, it could prepare you for not becoming weak hands and ended up just realizing a loss that might be not necessary. We get a bull cross in 2020 on 16th of December. And after that, we get a huge move to the upside of 140%. And another interesting insight I want to share with you today is I really want to lift up the spirit, because many people are getting very disappointed and feeling really bad about this. I'm going to show you the past performance in 2020 of CPR in the month of November. There are very good similarities so far. Unfortunately, CPR says that we're going to go lower based on 2020. Not necessarily the case this time, but maybe we need to handle the possibility. If you've been watching my channel, you're well aware that we bounced on the CPR pivots in here for the month of November. That was bullish, and the month of October, we say, great, we touch at least the first resistance. We should be expecting a November pretty bullish. I was never expecting it was going to be this bullish, because when you are seeing moves of just from the pivot to the next resistance, and that's it for the month, you cannot get used to that. What I never get used to is whenever Bitcoin does this kind of things, which it does it pretty much 1% of the time. And when I see it, I'm still going, wow, incredible. You can see in November, we broke the 3 levels of resistance, and we went to 100k, and now we are testing the top resistance, the third one at 91k. So what happened in 2020? What happened to CPR in 2020? Did we go beyond this? Did we hold right there on the first resistance? And what happened to December? What could be our expectations if we repeat what we did in November? What should be our expectations for December? So let's go to the previous bull market, and let's zoom in right here in the month of November. Before all the crazy moves to the upside, here we are in November, and you can see it's very similar. We go to the pivots, we break about the first, second, third. Third proves to be very difficult to break, just like we saw in this November. Eventually we break it, and then we come back, we try to hold there, but we couldn't on the top resistance, and we went to the second one. The second one was at 16, and that was a move of 17%. Right after that, we rallied to the end of November, but we go sideways pretty much for the 2 first weeks of December. And as I say, on the 16th of December, we experienced the bullish cross on the MACD, and that sets Bitcoin on fire once again to conquer 3 resistances multiple times in a row, with the exception of January that we just conquered 2. All of that moved down, cool down in here the activity of the top bottom. Maybe a move to 0.25 or to 0.20. If you look at November 2020, we were not even close to get to the top of the range in the oscillator. But once we did, we stick the action of the oscillator to the top and we hit it twice. So that's another interesting thing. But let's go back to the short term. As I was saying, we have liquidity at 85 this morning. We have very humble liquidity here that almost doesn't make much sense that we are really doing any business in here. If we take away that 65 out of the chart and we just do this, we can see that these 3 levels are way larger than the 3 levels that we have at the bottom end. That makes this move to the downside not much attractive to stick around in this area for too long, because we got better business to do going beyond 100K. Other things that are becoming bullish is that the delta is becoming quite red in this area, and this means that shorts are at big risk. Indeed, over 550K liquidations from shorts additional to the amount that there are for longs. The delta on trading light continues to stay around here. If you observe the delta in all of this bottom information processing here, they have something in common. Shorts are excessive, they remain excessive for a little bit, and eventually we see a breakout above a blue line, and that's where the longs take control, and after that breakout is pretty much confirmed that they're gonna get smashed. Where are we right now? We are forming a bottom information in here, and any point in time this could shoot back up and break the trend line and start hitting the shorts. Obviously, we need to be on the lookout for the signs coming from the RSI 4-hour to confirm that, and you can also see that we're getting very close to consume the liquidity that there is between 90 and 89K. Those are buy orders. We don't know if when we get there they're gonna get executed. Sometimes they're pulled out and they just allow the market to dump further down. You can see that they were moved from 85 to 90. Let's hope they are gonna stay there, and I'm hoping that they don't pull them back into 85 and they just cause some people to enter long here and get liquidated before they actually execute them at 85. That is also something that they might be planning to do. Guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin or altcoins, I've got 3 exchanges with amazing offers down in the description. OKX, Bybit are top-notch exchanges with access to trading bots, amazing APIs to connect to both platforms, which is something I really use a lot. And if you use those links in the description, you get the lowest fees to trade and the largest bonus in the crypto industry for sure. Now, if you're sick and tired of KYC, needing a VPN, or having so many difficulties to get to use the exchange with leverage particularly, then look into Bluffing. This one in here is offering the largest bonus at the moment and the lowest fees that you can get as well. Have a look at the link in the description. Remember, if you want to watch my analysis tomorrow, that's gonna go to the Trading Parrot. Open any of the videos, look into the description, and you're going to find information of my Telegram, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, so you can get notified on my daily calls as well. It's all for free, so don't worry about anything. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.